Hi, Cancer. This is your Cancer season reading. Happy birthday to those Cancers out there. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended reading to this video, link to this reading, which will be in the first link below. Give about 24 to 40 hours before that happens. All right, this month for you, July 2024, is a big wave. We already have 2 cards that fell out. A big wave. A big wave. But this is also a breakthrough. This is your heart opening. I always, depending on the card that comes next to the other, right? This is telling you that whatever is opening up, whatever that you're feeling in your heart, that's the breakthrough. I like to make it look a little poetic, like make it a little metaphor. That's the breakthrough that's happening. And you're welcoming in this 10 of Cups energy. That's what's coming. And that's what's needed. And as you know, like you've seen so many times before, it's this faith that you have. And it causes this response from life. I just hit the deck. But we have also the bottom, and I'm gonna take it and use it. This is a change of energy direction. You have so much power, of course. But a lot of your power lies in your intuition. A lot of this power that you have is very focused, perhaps on family. Or whatever is maybe the pain you're noticing in your heart, whatever things you're realizing that are evoking emotion, but also redirecting your idea of fulfillment. With Capricorn, we talked a little bit more about success. For you, success is great, fulfillment even better. Passion, if that also brings passion and romance, God bless, even better. How beautiful. We've talked a lot about attachment and non-attachment, and look at what's come up. This is for some earth-shattering, life-altering. This may have come from a place that you really were not expecting. Like, you never really are, and you kind of always know because your intuition is so strong and that's just how you move in the world. But the more you let go and the more you feel into this place, the more that you see how clear you are to yourself. And you're also wondering if everyone can sense the same, and you realize it's not true. You're becoming even more sensitive to the intuition that runs through you, the water that runs through you, the dynamic energy. Having faith in this process, trusting what you're hearing, what you're listening to, yourself. Releasing any further attachments that keep you from the 9 to the 10. You feel what that looks like. And it gives you so much, it fills you up so much, is what I really mean to say. What balance? If you've been looking, searching, wondering when you'd have an idea or when things would switch up, you've been going back and forth in your mind with all the Gemini energy, right? Because Gemini is still out here, but it just looks different. With all of this back and forth and around, and maybe even hiding, right? I have some notes today, and there's no more hiding, Cancer. Like the shell that you have and the shell that you're moving into, is different. This is an opportunity to quiet a lot of the noise that's really been stemming from perhaps doubt or incapability. But I'm here to remind you that you're water, and you direct and carve the physical reality through your emotions, your actions. Mainly your actions. You're mostly action oriented, especially when the emotions are behind it. Then it becomes so powerful. It takes over your whole life, and sometimes you realize, like, oh, I didn't mean for all of that, but then it's happening, and now you're feeling it happen again. You're feeling the wave build itself throughout your season. You're being given a chance to redirect energy where you've been maybe losing energy, losing time, money, wherever that is. You may have been warned, but this is kind of like, regardless if you have, it's happening anyway. Shift. And it could have been behind maybe a facade of some sort. A false example of what it looks like to be generous, what it looks like to give, what it looks like to receive, what it looks like to move in this world, move through the push and pull, the yin and yang, the internal, the external. Quickly, you may realize that you move on, or you move forward, or something washes away. And it's a powerful feeling. It's the wands, right? So it's this powerful feeling of the less that you doubt what's to come and you trust, whatever that higher power is, you trust what's to come. Whenever it is that you decide to enter in, or as you decide as you're entering through this new time, you see all of maybe false promises, false gestures. You realize what never came. You realize what you deserve even more of. Like, there's this building, right? There's this building. Some of you may want to rush into something romantic because it feels familiar or it feels good for the moment. Don't do that. Just don't do that. I mean, you could, but there's a reason why you're doubting for a reason. And if your feelings aren't calming down the more that you enter this, you need to address those feelings and act upon them, even if that means saying or letting go, right? No matter what it is this month, the best way we can enter this month, you can enter this month, your own month right now, is allowing yourself to make a promise that whatever needs to be let go of is for your greater good. Whatever needs to shift or change, wherever your direction is flowing, there's trust that's needed in order for it to keep going, for it to have power and strength so it doesn't overtake you, but that you're riding it with it. Like, you get that. You get it. And decide to go through with it. Grieve, talk about the grievance. It brings courage. It brings even more compassion into your life, into this place. Because whatever happened months ago, for some of you a decade ago, something that's reoccurring, it drastically changed your life. In fact, it was like a flash, like in the tower moment. A flash, a moment, a feeling. It affected you on a nervous system level, into yourself, into your being. And it was like someone was speaking to you in another language, perhaps, or for some of you, it was literally someone speaking to you in this language, or whatever language. And for that moment, and for this moment, if you could bring yourself back there, or trust that you know how to get yourself there, regardless if you've ever experienced this, that this is your intuition. That meditating with this place or sitting with this place allows you to let go of any responsibility, knowing that you can only control even that so much. You can only protect it even so much. Because even if you do everything right and did all the things that you needed to do to grow this within you, without acting upon it, it doesn't become active. It doesn't continue with you. We got both the kitties, like 1, 2 in the shot. Hey, everybody's around you. And why is everyone being drawn towards you? Because whatever's coming out of you is whatever was affecting you from receiving also the people, the relationships in your life, perhaps. This is more intimate. It's not that it's like a lot of people, but you'll just notice, like, even if you're in the same place, you're not moving on from any, like, you're at the same job or wherever your interactions are, you notice a different vibe. You notice that even people are interacting with you different on a day-to-day basis. For some of you, you may not love the change all the time, but it does add something to your life. Like the part of you that's like, okay. But this kind adds to your life in a way that helps you move through whatever grief process you've been going through. This is that time that through that grief process that maybe you've let go and started to accept what life is here without X, Y, and Z, without this place, without this person. Whether that person actually, I always like to acknowledge to you is like, regardless of that person actually died, because this could be someone who is just not in your life anymore that had been for a long time or made an impact in your life. This thought process, right, that had this philosophical, this religion, this change, this just different outlook that was once so important to you, or so here and so physical and so real, has shifted so much. And you look back too and you realize, like, what are the things that did help you at one point? You give praise to whichever needs it, but you also start to deepen this experience, right? The cards came out quick, and we're deepening the experience now. Before we get into the second part, we're going to deepen this experience with you. And I think that's really ultimately perhaps what you're looking for. Is not this, it's not that you didn't love the things that came together so quickly and had these moments and experiences, and then you directed in like the emotions and the passion, or if it was just very comfortable, right? For some of you, something that was just very comfortable, easy, back and forth, what gets to each other, but you also know at some point what someone won't accept. You feel it, you sense it, what you can't accept, and you're getting to a point where you can't hide from yourself, right? Where your light is changing, where you're now seeing, I can't accept this anymore of myself, or I can't accept this behavior, or I can't accept doing this. Like, I am different. I am changing, and the light within me and what that looks like specifically. The way you choose to absorb light and let go, right? How you protect yourself in a room. If you don't protect yourself, definitely look into that more. Ethical spaces, we'll talk to you about it more in the next part, but I can also say, like, it's just envisioning your own protection, pretty much. What does that look like to you? And really being clear about it, and the clearer, easier it gets. It's really like the movies, not kidding. And the more you shift with that, you don't run into the same people. Again, that people change. But this is like Cancer risings, this is about you. Like, this identity shift will be seen, and any internal dialogue that you begin to have, if you hadn't, or this process with your art, even if you're just constantly interacting with art mediums, like, that's where that deepening of that process is coming from, because you're seeing that, doubt isn't just manifested on its own or without our own sense. Like, we need to experience some things externally in order to be clear with ourselves and effectively see ourselves internally. I do believe sometimes, right? That's reflection. And you may be getting very clear reflections, very clear representations, and they're being drawn towards you, and that's how magnetic you are, right? That they're just being pulled towards you at this time. And going through this emotional process and noticing what comes up. Is it what you really need in that moment? And if it's not, what it would look like to say, you know, what will come will be what I need, right? Not that you can control or manipulate, but you notice the power of that intention, and having that intention be real and truly putting energy into it is making it more of a belief. It's making it more real. It's making it more active. Beliefs are like actions, right? However you act is really truly what you believe. If you look at your life, we can get more into that too. But the shift in your world, this transformation that has started so small, like a seed, has become so active and so visual. And maybe you begin playing with the visualizations of your life, and maybe you notice that it's taking you to the near future. You know, maybe you start to play with that intuitive sense, an intuitive gift a little bit more. Ooh, I almost dropped this. Ooh. Power of presence. The responsibility, you know, it carries too. I understand that. Going through and moving forward in a certain way isn't always, it's not for the weak. But I think you've been contemplating it long enough, maybe even a while, just a while. I won't say how long, you won't out it. 2 years maybe. The courage, the strength that you gain from speaking it, new life into existence, finding what you're responsible for in it too, right? We're not here to place blame, and if you find yourself wanting to, maybe you just notice what that energy is, that blame energy, right? And it's not blaming yourself, but accepting your role and the parts that you've played in your life thus far, and the parts that you're shifting and playing now, and how that's changing almost overnight and very dramatically. And that by Leo season, it's easier for you to talk about. It may even influence the way you go about business, the way you go about relationships. There might be a Leo or someone in your life that you've been very drawn to for a while, and you take your shot, right? And you give yourself this chance and this opportunity to finally let go of maybe someone or something or some form of relating, at least to the scale that you were. For example, if you find yourself always going to the one person about everything, which is what we can do, but then you sense what they're not really giving energy towards. Maybe not right now, maybe not that conversation, maybe you shift. You're drawing in people that you realize you need and they need you, and it's a beginning to a start of even healthier connections if you don't find that you have those, because you're emotionally cleansing. Sorry, it's loud. You might be emotionally cleansing from what you've heard, what and who it is you see yourself becoming. And as you see yourself becoming this person, what washes away, what needs to be let go of, right? What do you see, and how does that shape your reality and shape you and how you move through your reality? It's maybe a visualization process you can even go through, because what's fed your doubt or your frustration is knowing that things for you can change very quickly. And I think sometimes it almost frightens you, but this time it's the fear or the resistance perhaps is more so coming from the irresponsibility that you then have to take in your life. But it's not going to be hard because it's meant to happen now. So that's it. You'll find ease in that. There will be hard moments, of course. I'm not saying that life just automatically gets easy, but there's an ease in which this shift happens, and that's where Cancer, that river happens. Like that's that flow, that's that rushing, cleansing water where after a nice fresh rain and you're just like, you know, feeling great, feeling cleansed, feeling taken care of. And if you're not feeling those ways, taking the steps to do so. Like, what does that look like today? Do you have a couple minutes? Do you need to actually, carve out time? How do you keep your word to yourself and say yes to yourself? How does that shape? How does that relate to fulfillment? I know a lot of questions, but this is a great time to do that, because there's so much you see, like, things get drawn to you so easily. You're going to want to have that extra discernment, because is it all going to be good and needed and necessary all the time? I don't know. Only you can decide that, right? And you can decide it quickly. And it brings you closer to you. All right. Happy birthday. We'll get right into the second part. All links are below. All right, Cancer. We'll see you next month. Have a great time. Great season.